Dis After Dark Podcast is sponsored by Unofficial.com, the home of Halloween Horror Nights news and rumors all year round. Find us on the web at www.hhnunofficial.com. So stop the fog machines and clear the cobwebs. It's time for another episode of the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Wendy Presser at Magical Journeys Travel is proud to be a sponsor of the After Dark Podcast Network. Whether you've been to Disney 1 or 100 times, there's still lots of planning involved. Let Wendy be the one up at midnight when your window opens to get that Be Our Guest reservation or that coveted Anna and Elsa Fastpass for your own princess. Mention that you heard this ad on one of our podcasts and get $25 off your deposit with any trip package. Be sure to ask about her generous onboard credits for Disney Cruise Lines as well. Find her on Twitter at WP Magic Journeys or WPMagicJourneys.com.
Warning. This show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature, mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show.
Thank you very much. We decided to, I decided to split this episode into two. So this is still Dis After Dark, and it's still our D23 Hangover special. But we wanted to just have a break between the episodes, where Paul brought up a very good point that we hadn't mentioned so far, which was some of the changes to hotels over in the Magic Kingdom. And Walt Disney World itself, more specifically, I suppose, Mr. D.
That's right. Yep.
So what you mentioned there was the Disney Skyliner.
Yeah. I think this, to me, I like the sound of this. It's a pretty simple thing. It's in some ways it's retro, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But, and we've talked about this a little bit before. In fact, we even talked about the other week when we were talking about what new lands were coming to Epcot and how big Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be. And so it turned out that it was part of this expansion. So, just in case those are not aware, these are. Well, what is it exactly? I mean, they kind of describe them as Skyliner gondolas.
Yeah, so it's like they used to have a smaller version in the Magic Kingdom, didn't they? They had a cable car.
Yes,
is what it's like, but this is on a much bigger scale.
That was it. I couldn't think of what it was, but yeah, cable car sums it up quite well.
Yeah, so this is going to be themed, Disney themed, but it's going to be quite extensive. It's going to join up Studios, Pop Century, Caribbean Beach, and Epcot. So it's going to be a network of cable cars that will connect those different points up. So quite a big deal. I mean, obviously great views of Epcot, Studios, some of the resort areas like the Boardwalk. I would imagine you'll get good views of Yacht and Beach, Swan and Dolphin, Boardwalk itself, Caribbean Beach, Art of Animation, Pop Century, and then all the areas in between. So should be a fun transportation system. I think a bit of an attraction and a bit of a transportation system in one.
Now, I mean, in London recently, we got our own kind of version of this called the Emirates Airway. which I don't know, has anyone actually been on the Emirates?
No.
I've not either, actually. But it sounds fairly similar, except of course that goes across the River Thames from one side of London to the other. This is obviously going over the resorts. Do we think that with this, because, you know, let's be honest as well, this is going to provide access to Hollywood studios from Pop Century and Caribbean Beach Resort.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that because that will add another layer of transportation from those resorts, that could increase the price? Bearing in mind that Pop is obviously one of the cheapest resorts on property.
There has been talk that the broad way that they're set out at the moment with the value, moderate, and deluxe, that will start to disperse, and it will be kind of just one run. So you'll have ones that are on certain different transports will be slightly higher in that category, so they aren't kind of classed as, like, Pop Century won't be classed as a value anymore, and they'll just kind of be in a run depending on what they've got to them.
See, I mean, I kind of get it, but my concern with that is that, and I know that they're currently remodelling Pop Century at the moment, but it's still a basic resort. It's still a basic room compared to a lot of the others. They're smaller rooms. They have less facilities inside those rooms. There's a reason why, you know, resorts have, you know, Michelin stars or whatever. Not. I mean, obviously Disney had their own system, but what I mean is that it, you know, the rooms are gauged on their value based on what you get for your money. And if you're basically saying to somebody, you can stay in a travel lodge, but because you've got this additional way of getting into one of the parks, we're going to charge you a lot of money. We're going to charge you more money for it. That doesn't sit well with me.
But typically, you would pay more for Pop Century than say the All Stars, and
really?
I think yeah, and the premium I think is because of the location. I mean, obviously it's a slightly newer resort than the All Stars, but when you look at it on a satellite photograph, it is very close to the studios and Epcot. And wasn't there some discussion about, or rumours about, Caribbean Beach being kind of upgraded to be more of a deluxe-y? Because it's a big moderate, but it doesn't get great reviews.
That's now changed due to the fact of another announcement that was made at D23 with the addition of the 15th DVC hotel, which is now going on the land that they've taken from Caribbean Beach Resort.
Yeah.
Is this the Riviera? Is it called Riviera?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's being partially built on the land that was Barbados at Caribbean Beach Resort. So
you know, in a sense, though, you just wonder, because somebody's done like an impression on a satellite photograph. I got it from WDW Magic, just to give credit where credit's due. But you know, there's like a hub in Caribbean Beach, and I guess you sort of wonder whether that hub would serve, you know, the two resorts as they will be, and then same for Pop Century, because obviously Pop Century is kind of connected to Art of Animation, so all four of those resorts potentially would have reasonably quick access to the Skyliner network. So
yeah,
again,
no, I agree there. I think it's definitely going to put these hotels at a different level.
Yeah.
And I think some of it is due to the fact that possibly it will make people change where they're staying.
Mm-hmm.
It will spread out the visitors rather than everybody going, say, Port Orleans. Some of those people will now go to Caribbean Beach because they can get on that. And the same with Pop Century, rather than going to movies or sport because they're a little bit cheaper, they'll go to Pop Century because of the access to this transport.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quite. I mean, I didn't realise that. I actually thought Pop was the cheapest thought it was cheaper than the All-Star resorts.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, although we talk about value, moderate, and deluxe, really there's lots of shades of grey in there.
Mm.
You know, so Pop Century is typically a little bit more than the others, and then even within the moderates, there seems to be a slight tiering, and same with the deluxes. So, obviously, Grand Floridian's different from Contemporary, Polynesian, which is different from Animal Kingdom and Wilderness. So I don't think Disney's got a problem with that. I think they'll just charge you what they think they can get.
Interesting.
I think they're just trying to blur those lines now.
Yeah.
Between the categories.
Amanda, have you stayed at Pop Century at all?
Nope.
See,
honestly, if I was going to stay on site at Disney, which I never have, if I was going to, I think that I'd want to go all out, really.
See, I mean, I thought I stayed at Pop Century because it was the cheapest. The missus
there's not
booked it. I didn't
a
realise.
massive. Yeah, there's not a massive difference, but typically, you'd pay a couple of £100 extra on a 2-week holiday. You'd pay maybe
which is
£200-300 extra.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I did really like Pop Century. I like the theme of it. I thought it was quite a nice resort to be on, but I thought the hotel rooms were quite basic. And I mean the thing is, I don't mind that because to me, I'm only going into a room to sleep. I don't spend time, the idea is that, we get some sleep, we get up, we go straight out, we're out nearly all day. So as long as the room's clean, I don't really care too much what's in it. But I just wonder if they might try and change the pricing because, that's it. If you're getting an additional way of getting into the parks, bearing in mind how hard the buses can be to get on sometimes, this would give you another way of getting there. And so you would expect there to be a change because of it, but that's interesting. Did they announce any timelines for that at all?
No, but they've already started building. The International Gateway has already got all the hoardings up to put the entrance in for the Skyliner. So that'll start going up very shortly, I would imagine.
I love how each of the cars are themed. So, you've got Haunted Mansion one, you've got the Mickey and Minnie, the shorts version of Mickey and Minnie, regular Mickey and Minnie, and Donald and Goofy so far. I love that. I think that's really cute.
It'd be interesting to know how many they're going to have in total.
I imagine that they're going to have an awful lot if they're serviced in each of those resorts and then go into Hollywood Studios and Epcot as well.
And it's also, as well, what the capacity is going to be like. Because, in principle, it's a good idea, but it could be that it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting idea. I've got to be honest, I like the idea of it. I'm really kind of intrigued by it, but I'm also a bit surprised because I can't imagine it being like a mass transit system. You got to get on, you got to get off. You'll have ECVs that you got to get on and off, wheelchair access. Well,
that's what I mean. I think in London they stop them for a couple of minutes when they've got to do a change like that. Otherwise, they just move really, really slowly.
Yeah,
at a docking station, so people are able to kind of get on and get off. But I mean, obviously, we should know more as it kind of goes on. Now, you mentioned there, Paul, if I'm correct, and again, I've had a bit more gin than I was expecting, so that might cloud my judgment a little bit. But I'm pretty sure you said there something about mass transit with regards to the cable cars, the gondolas.
Well, I might have used that term, but yeah, it is a transit system to get between.
They announced another transit system.
Did they?
They did. They announced minivans.
So that's not mass, that's mini.
But it's transit.
It is.
I bet they're glorified transit vans. No, did anyone see these?
Yeah.
So, they've got, and they are called minivans, aren't they? Just spelt mini as in mouse.
I thought that's so cute.
It is. It is.
They're not vans, though.
The what?
They're not vans, though.
They're more people carriers.
In the American sense.
Yeah. They're more people carriers. But this has been described as like an Uber-like system for Walt Disney World. So is this a bit like a further up version of the buses that they were trialling a few months ago?
Yeah, it seems very
express,
similar. Yeah,
the express. What were they called? Were they called express buses or something?
Express transportation, I think it was,
Right.
it was called.
Now these are obviously things are Minnie Mouse, so that's already a +1.
They will take you anywhere on property. So between hotels to parks. But I've read somewhere that it's a flat $20 charge, no matter where you're going.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
$20 per trip.
I'm saying that, to be fair, I mean, even getting around the resort, $20 is, it probably sounds about right to get you from one part of the resort to another. I mean, I think it would cost, back, 5 years ago or whatever, but I think it was about just over $20 for us to get from Disney to, from downtown Disney as it was then, back to iDrive. Mm-hmm. So $20 flat fee probably sounds about right.
I think that's per vehicle, isn't it? So that's up to 8 people. Yeah. So even if it's like 2 families, you split it between 4. It's not that much.
But I wonder how they're going to get around, because is there not a danger of there being congestion? Are they going to have special paths that they can travel on, or?
The only thing I can assume is that they're going to be allowed to go backstage.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Same as the buses.
Yeah.
But apparently they are also going to become self-driving at some point. At the moment, at the moment they're not. You've still got a driver, but next year when Honda take over the contract, apparently they will be self-driving.
It's like Tomorrowland Speedway all over again.
Yeah, something like that.
We just can't get away from this concept.
No, it's true. But I think it's a cute little idea.
Starts this month.
It started today.
Oh, today was it?
Wow.
Yeah, they started it from the boardwalk today.
Mm.
Wow.
I've seen pictures of. At the moment, the cars are currently Chevrolet, but the contract is with Honda. Once it becomes Skynet next year.
That'd be funny. I wonder how much. I wonder how much they sell off those. When Honda take over the Chevy ones with the big spots. I wonder what they'll be worth on the second-hand market.
Probably not much, to be honest, because surely it's only wrap.
Yeah, probably.
So you could probably do it yourself if you wanted to, as long as Disney didn't find out, of course, and try and sue you.
Like every single ice cream man in the UK.
That's right, exactly, yeah. I'm the real Mickey Mouse on this ice cream van. Actually, there is one last thing that we haven't talked about yet in this kind of part of the topic of conversation, which is the one piece of Disneyland Paris news that came out of D23.
Hallelujah.
I think it's great that the Walt Disney Company have now bought Disneyland Paris, and they decided to announce one thing about it at D23, other than the fact, of course, that it was taking Ratatouille to America. So they've obviously been doing quite a lot of renovations on their hotels of late, with the budget hotels, the Santa Fe and the Cheyenne, being done, kind of recently,
and the Newport Bay,
last year. And the next one on the agenda is the Hotel New York, which they've said for a while, haven't they? And they've already started doing some of the renovations on the upper floors of what it's going to look like. But what was announced, which hadn't been announced previously, is that the hotel itself is actually going to be themed. Now, the hotels, some of the hotels have a bit of a theme already, don't they? Including, as you said, the Cheyenne with the Toy Story that was put in last year. But that's only in the rooms. So the actual hotels themselves still look exactly the same. It's just small touches around the grounds, but it's mainly the interiors of the rooms that have changed. But the Hotel New York is going to be a Marvel resort, which I think will probably be the first Marvel hotel in the world.
Yeah.
I think. It's called The Art of Marvel, isn't it? So I think it's still going to be called the Hotel New York, but its subtitle is going to be The Art of Marvel. And what we saw in the concept art of that was in the kind of lobby area, I suppose, was some of Iron Man's suits.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. The concept art for it does look good, to be fair. It was only the lobby they were kind of showing off, but to be honest, it didn't look like it was going to change too much from what it looks like now.
Yeah, the description was that it's going to be based on a modern New York art gallery, but filled with superhero artifacts instead of paintings.
Nice. Okay, I like that. That sounds quite cool, actually. But yeah, they definitely showed in the artist impressions some of the Iron Man suits, because, I mean, there's, 87 Iron Man suits at the moment? Or
Can't
something.
remember what mark he's on now.
Too bloody many, is what I say. Way too many. But either way, it's I think it's good, and I think it will bring a bit of life to the Hotel New York. It's always been a bit of a popular hotel, but I think it just looks a bit tired.
It does.
And I think a theme like that will really bring people to it.
It's become the convention hotel. For now, it's not really somewhere that people stay. They either stay in a refurb Newport Bay, or they take the next step up and go to the Disneyland at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously Newport Bay has its convention centres, but you don't tend... people used to stay at the New York, but you hear less and less people staying at the New York.
When I tried to go in the other week, they stopped me from going in. Said, it's private today.
What?
What? Yeah, couldn't go in.
Wow.
And it was weirdly, that was the day that Disney announced they'd bought the company. So they bought the park, and I wonder whether there was people in there sorting something out.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. Makes sense.
Because I think it was also the day that people started getting the pictures of the new corridors. So I think it was possible that there was something business-related going on.
Right, I get you.
Because I've never heard that ever.
No.
Wouldn't even let me step foot in the lobby. Yeah,
that's incredible. I mean, I always wondered if that was what was going to happen if I tried to walk into the Disneyland hotel.
Yeah.
Especially with how I look and how I sound, obviously, like a Cockney wide boy. But no, they'd even let me into Disneyland hotel with no questions asked. So yeah, that's quite amazing, actually. I've done that, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a really good look for it, and I think it will really give people something to consider, because I think you get two types of people that book holidays to Disneyland Paris. You get those that want to book for the first time and will just go for something that seems quite cheap or looks okay on the brochure, or you'll get people that will book it based on what the hotel has to offer and what the theming of the hotel is. And if you see that the hotel is themed around Marvel, that could really sway your decision to stay there. Yeah. I know people that have stayed at the Santa Fe because of me saying it's based around cars. So and having a kid that's really obsessed with cars. So I think that'll be good for the New York. So that was everything to do, I think, that was everything to do at least, with parks and resorts.
Yeah.
And did they actually do anything on Sunday? At D23?
There wasn't really anything major. Alan Menken performed a couple of times. And then obviously the smaller panels. I know there was the history of Imagineers, I think, was on one of the stages. But yeah, it wasn't any of the major announcements on the Sunday.
Right, okay, that makes sense. So I thought that was the case, but I wasn't entirely sure. Okay, so Friday was kind of a big movie day.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Before we jump on the movies,
yes,
because that'll be a big topic. I think there's a little one that we could maybe cap off on top of the parks because it connects to the parks, and that's the cruise line.
Yes.
Yeah. So they announced they're instead of building 2 new ships, which they'd previously announced, there's actually going to be 3 new ships. So that's going to bring the fleet to 7.
So they must be doing really well for themselves then.
Yeah.
Like the cruise, I mean, not just Disney in general, but the cruise lines. To build another one. Okay.
And you got to believe that, where are they going to put these extra 3 ships?
Is that what one of them's called, The Believe?
It may be. I mean, they're all based on how you feel when you go to Disney. So you got the wonder, the magic, the dream, the fantasy. So these new ones could be
the poor,
the financially distressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
hot and sweaty.
Yeah, the socially dysfunctional family at the end of the 2-week holiday. That's quite a long one to paint on the side of the ship. I'll give you that.
Yep.
So yeah, answers on a postcard. Should be a good listener competition.
I read somewhere that they now it's a case of having 1 ship for all 7 seas, and that's why they've done it.
I thought 7 Seas was just some vitamins you bought in the UK. I didn't realise it was anything else.
Or a Queen record.
Yeah, so well, that's good. I mean, I've still not been on a Disney cruise myself, but
I was looking today.
Was you really?
Yeah, I was looking at the European ones, and then realised that I could actually get the boat back to New York from Dover for 11 days for cheaper than one of the European 5-day cruises.
Really?
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's one of the repositioning cruises, yeah.
Yeah. So they have to do it. So
yeah, they got to do it. So quite good if you wanna, if you want to travel at that time of the year.
Yeah.
So is that a Disney cruise that has to turn back to go to America? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, at the beginning of the summer and the end of the summer, when they bring the ship over, it's a transatlantic cruise, so you can get quite a good deal.
Wow. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they put these new ships and what new features are on them, because the last 2 ships had some really pretty revolutionary features, didn't they? With the water slides and
and now the other 2 have been upgraded, haven't they, as well?
Yeah,
so they've got a load of new stuff
holes
as well.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So do you think then that there might be one that's permanently moored in Europe? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if it'd be all year round, but
I think they could leave one in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Royal Caribbean and other cruise lines have got them certainly most of the year, if not all of the year. So yeah, you could always shift it, during the winter if they needed to, but it was never guaranteed. Although the ships have been here most year, I think there was a year or 2 where they didn't bring a ship over.
Yeah, there have been years when they haven't.
Yeah. So I mean, this would pretty much guarantee that there would be a schedule every year, I would have thought.
And hopefully bring the prices down.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you what, before we go on to the movie panel and everything like that, you did say earlier, Paul, that you had gone to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, yesterday.
No, obviously, I've done a review with P-Dubs about it, and P-Dubs with S.T.R.I.K.E. has released these episodes today. So what did you think of Spider-Man?
Well, obviously Amanda hasn't seen it, so I won't give any spoilers.
It's all right. A note to listeners, because you want to notice because of the power of the editing, but Amanda's actually had to drop off.
Ah, right.
Because
okay.
we've been on for far too long.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I did like it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. I quite liked what's his name? Is it Tom
Holland?
Tom Holland, yeah. I thought he was good. You know, pretty good in the part. I don't know. I didn't love it as much as previous Spider-Man films. I mean,
really? Okay.
Yeah. I still like the Tobey Maguire ones. Maybe not everybody's cup of tea. Not so much the Andrew Garfield ones, although they were okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just thought it was a bit light. I mean, it was more of a teen movie because obviously that's his age, and he's 14, I think, in the film. So I liked it. I thought it was good. Thought it was fun. I prefer kind of superhero movies to have a little bit of a harder edge to them, I suppose. And so that's just my personal taste, I guess.
I think it really depends as well on how you like what your Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Like my Spider-Man, like this version of Spider-Man to me was the Spider-Man that I grew up with. So he was a Spider-Man I remembered reading comics in like the 80s and 90s. He was the Spider-Man that I saw in the cartoon series of the 90s. But I think if you were more familiar with Spider-Man from the 60s cartoon that they did, which was probably the first one that I ever saw, or earlier comics, then Tobey Maguire may have been a more stop it, Jin. He may have been more your version of what Peter Parker would have been like.
Yeah.
And what you expected that character to be portrayed like. But to me, he was the Peter Parker I'd been waiting to see.
Yeah.
Everyone had been like, Tobey Maguire had his good points and Andrew Garfield had his good points, but to me, that was the Peter Parker I'd always waited to see. So I think that might play into how you enjoy it. I know what you mean about it being a bit light in tone. Somebody described it as being as if John Hughes had made a Spider-Man film. So there was a little bit of like The Breakfast Club in there, and those kind of 80s teen comedy things in there, as well as it being a superhero film. And I think it was a lot more balanced like that compared to others which have been more straight up superhero. So I think it depends on how you feel about that as well. But that's good. To be honest, it's good that you didn't love it, because everyone seems to have been really high about it, and I think it's good that not everyone shares that opinion.
Yeah, I mean, on the positive side, I did like Michael Keaton as the villain, because and as like I said, I like my superheroes a little bit on the harder edge, so sort of Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan type Batman. But by the same token, I don't like the villains to be so outlandish. And Michael Keaton, I thought, was a pretty good balance. He was a kind of he was a bad guy, but he wasn't like extreme bad guy. And I thought that was a pretty good storyline.
Yeah.
And then
normally they're very black and white, aren't they? They're like how horrible they got to be. But with his character, you felt it was a lot more grey than black or white. Yeah. Yeah.
So I liked that aspect of it. I didn't mind the sort of Tony Stark, interactions, the whole kind of Marvel Universe piece. That was okay. It's got to be done, I guess. But it was done, pretty much seamlessly. So I didn't really mind that too much.
Yeah.
So enjoyed it. It's good. See what happens. I'm sure there'll be another one. See how it goes. See if it evolves. Because obviously, you would believe that he's going to get older as the films go on. So
Yes.
it should maybe change a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
I
What
did-
are the apes
but-
this week?
Yeah. By the way, did you stay for the end credits?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like that. I think it's a great trick on the public. Yeah, I saw Planet of the Apes at the weekend, and not to hype it up too much before you've seen it, but it's probably my favourite film this year. Really, really enjoyed it. I mean, my friend went to see it and didn't feel anywhere near as strongly about it as I did. So I think it could divide people, but I think if you like the first two Planet of the Apes films, then you'll like this one.
Yeah, I did. Like those two. Yeah.
Really, really, really enjoyed it. But there was a lot of movie news that was released at D23.
Both days.
And I'm sure you had your eyes all over the Marvel panel, Paul.
I did, yeah. You can't argue with that, and I'm just still waiting here to see this footage. Someone must have recorded it.
To be honest, I know what footage you're after.
Yeah.
But to be honest, there was footage from the animation panel that I was even more eager to see.
Well, yeah.
I think. So, yeah. But do you want to talk about what happened at Marvel?
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the whole panel? What happened beforehand?
Yeah,
the other films? Or
yeah.
So, first of all, we had our first look at Wrinkle in Time.
Which I know nothing about, by the way.
No, I don't either, other than Oprah Winfrey's in it.
Yeah.
That's all I know about it.
You have a film. Everybody have a film.
Well, apparently she did that with posters. So, after being made a Disney legend to start with.
And can I just ask, does anyone know why she was a Disney legend?
Well, her first show was on ABC.
Oh, good grief.
Way back before Disney even owned ABC.
Yeah. Jesus.
So, and it's the same, a lot of the legends this year were exactly the same, because obviously Stan Lee was made a legend. Who did all his work before Disney owned Marvel. Mark Hamill, most of his Star Wars work was done before Disney owned them.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing, I know what you mean, but I mean, Mark Hamill a little bit less so, but Stan Lee, I mean, how much of an effect have the Marvel films had on Disney?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd even you could argue Star Wars, because look how big The Force Awakens and Rogue One have been.
Yeah.
So, you know, but Oprah Winfrey just felt a bit of a stretch.
And then obviously the surprise one was Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, but see
that legends.
See, the thing is, she's been in some quite big Disney films, so I got that. To me, it was just anyone that takes the piss out of the WWE Hall of Fame because of having people like Trump and Tyson and Drew Carey in there can't take the piss out of that whilst praising the Disney legends, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Both
of them. The Mark Hamill one, though. Am I right in thinking that Mark Hamill is a Disney legend, but up to this point, for Disney, he hasn't spoken a single word on screen, has he?
No.
Right, okay. I just wanted to check that.
To be fair, though, as Oprah Winfrey, at least Whoopi Goldberg was in Toy Story 3 and The Lion King.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey, she
Maybe
must have done something.
Was.
Yeah.
She was in Princess and the Frog.
Oh, bollocks. Yes, she was.
There you go. Yeah.
That makes sense now. Saying that, Whoopi Goldberg made some interesting comments about Song of the South.
She did.
That'll be
was
interesting.
Apparently the first comment she made.
Was it really?
In our interviews afterwards.
Yeah.
Was that I believe that Disney should re-release Song of the South.
It's interesting. I think she had some points.
Yeah.
I think she should. I think they should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. In times of self, I think as long as you're doing it with reason, and you want to explain context, and I don't really see what the problem is. As long as you're doing it for those reasons.
I think people have got to accept that some things were made in different times, and the value.
It's like taking the smoke out of Pinocchio or something.
Yeah. Which they probably will at some point.
Yeah. The one that I heard was that they were going to take the mermaids out of Peter Pan because they're sexist.
I actually thought you were going to say The Little Mermaid then. Because that's going to really change that
be
film.
Even better. Yeah.
But shouldn't they take the Lost Boys out as well then?
Yeah.
Well, they are vampires.
It's not the Lost People, it's the Lost Boys. Where do you stop this crap?
Yeah, Simon's kicking in now. Anyway, back to what's it called? Stitching Time?
Wrinkle in Time. That none of us know anything about.
No, but it's a book. It's an old book, isn't it? Quite a famous book. I just think it's probably one of those books that never made the crossing over in terms of popularity. Like Bridge of Terabithia was another one that seemed to be very popular in America, but wasn't really that known over here.
Like Adrian Mole was popular here, but wasn't over there.
Yeah, it's debatable, isn't it? No, it was popular over here. That's true. But I mean, there's a lot of hype around it, and people that saw the footage had some good things to say about it.
Yeah.
So
popular cast. So, but then so was Into the Woods. So we'll see.
Did that bomb?
Yeah, I think so. It kind of disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah,
without a trace.
But it's a musical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Into the Woods. Movie musicals generally aren't well received. Very few have done well in that regard. Like, I think back to when The Producers was turned into a movie musical, and that I thought that was going to do quite well, and that completely bombed. To be honest, the only movie musicals that tend to do quite well are cartoon ones.
Yeah, Mamma Mia did all right.
Les Miserables.
Yeah,
but there's a very short list of those. For every Les Miserables, you get a Into the Woods.
And talking of musicals, the next one up was Mary Poppins Returns.
Mary Poppins Returns, y'all. This is what they should call it, of course.
Yeah.
And they showed some footage, didn't they?
They did. They showed a little bit of footage. I think it was mainly, those stills they released a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of those scenes were actually shown. Rather than just because I know the bit of Lin-Manuel Miranda when he's up the lamppost, that was included. That little bit was included.
And I think there was a bit included with Mary Poppins going up some banisters.
Yeah, probably. Well. And I did read that there was a scene of people flying kites.
Okay.
And apparently that's when she arrives.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And then they released like a little motion poster, didn't they, of her as well?
They did, which, you know what? I think that's the first time I've been disappointed so far.
Yeah.
I always thought she was a good choice to play her, but that motion poster did not sell it to me at all. No. I was quite surprised, actually, how I felt about it. And it's just her looking up. She's kind of bent down, head's bowed down, and then she reveals her face and that. But yeah, something about it, I wasn't sure. I mean, she's got her umbrella with the parrot head. Yeah. Still, although it looks a bit different. But
got the bag still.
Yeah, I don't know if it was what she was wearing. I'm not something. Just
I'm not convinced by that either.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the outfit choice, but something just didn't sit right. I've still got high hopes. I still think it'll be good. I like Emily Blunt. I like her more in Live, Die, Repeat, or whatever it's what's it called? What's that film called?
Die Another Day. No, that's a Bond film.
That's the worst one.
Live, Die, Repeat.
No, that's
Don't repeat.
That's its alternative title because it flopped.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, they renamed it Live Diary, or they didn't even rename it. They just put that in big letters on the DVD and Blu-ray release to make you forget what it was actually called. It's a bloody good film, and it's even getting a sequel, but it just flopped. Yeah. But yeah, so I like Emily Blunt, and I love Lin-Manuel Miranda. And is it Ben Whishaw?
Yeah, it's playing
Michael.
I
like him. I can't remember who's playing Jane.
Samantha Bond, I think.
No, it can't be Samantha Bond, surely.
It's someone of that ilk.
Okay. And apparently they showed a clip with Dick Van Dyke.
Yes.
Who's actually reprising a character.
Yes. He's playing Mr. Dawes Jr.
Yes. Which I think is a very, very nice nod indeed. Not having to wear the makeup, of course, now.
Yeah.
I imagine. But that's good. And I think they also showed a clip of Angela Lansbury.
Yes, it's the balloon lady.
Who's a teapot, surprisingly enough. A teapot that sells balloons. And
they showed Colin Firth as well.
Who's playing...
as another bank manager.
Yes. Was that... I think the film's about them losing the childhood home.
Yeah.
Or something. He's trying to take it away. So that'd be
I
good.
think Mary Poppins should be played by a man.
Just to take back from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
Marty Poppins.
Mike Poppins. Yeah, Marty Poppins. Yeah.
I've still got some high hopes, but we'll see. I mean, we didn't see the trailer and everything, and
no.
I think it was quite well received. I just need to see it in a different outfit. Okay, so that's a big release for... I mean, Jesus, it's a year and a half away.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's what I can't get my head around. It's a year and a half away.
2018.
Jesus.
Taking the Star Wars slot.
Yes, because that's bumps and May 2019, isn't it?
Well, we think it is.
Yes.
But that takes us on to the next one. The Last Jedi.
Yes. I haven't seen the footage.
Have you not seen it? I watched it once and wasn't really taking a lot of notice because I was watching so many different videos. I kind of stuck the presentation on and it was kind of going in the background.
Right.
So I've not watched the actual proper footage of it. I've just seen it kind of from a distance.
Right. It's some behind the scenes stuff, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Showing some of the new alien creatures and not really showing a lot story-wise. I don't think we got much from it.
To be honest, I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
I just want to see the film now.
Yeah.
I don't really want to see... I was really hyped for The Force Awakens. I really enjoyed it. And I was excited seeing the trailers coming out. And, there's a new trailer coming out tomorrow. But with this, I just want to see the film.
Yeah.
I almost want to know as little as possible going into it. I can't wait for it to come out, but I think I can wait for it to come out without trying to spoil any more of the film for me.
Yeah, I don't think they need to do as many trailers as they did last time.
No.
There was way too many last time, and I think that's become a habit of Disney's, and hopefully they'll start to cut that out.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think they've done it. They've done it with a lot of films. They did it with Civil War. They even did it with Pirates of the Caribbean, where they showed too much of it. And I think even Spider-Man, we discussed it. A lot of the set pieces were shown in the trailers.
Yeah. I mean, as an example to that, I didn't see a single trailer for War of the Planet of the Apes. Not a single trailer. I just knew I wanted to go and see it, and maybe my enjoyment for it was heightened because I didn't know. There was nothing. Everything was a surprise to me. There was nothing that I thought, oh yeah, I've seen a bit of that in the trailer. So maybe that's what they should try and do is focus. I know what trailers are for, but I don't think for those films you need to worry so much about it. For smaller films, absolutely, because they're trying to find an audience. But I think for these bigger event films, you don't need to. I mean, for example, if they just stuck a Skull and Crossbones up and said Pirates of the Caribbean 5, I probably would have seen it, regardless if I'd seen another trailer for it. But yeah, you do feel sometimes that you've seen the film by watching the trailers. So, okay.
And then obviously moving on to the biggest event movie possibly ever. Talk of in part one of a $1 billion movie. Well, this is it. Avengers: Infinity War.
Yep.
15 Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy on stage at the same time. Alongside one of their directors.
I was going to say, only one of them turned up, didn't they?
Yeah, because the other one was still filming. I'm assuming with certain characters that weren't on stage.
Right, yeah.
Mr. Chris Evans, I'm looking at you, wherever you were, seeing as apparently you're a Disney annual pass holder, so I can't imagine you missed it for any reason other than that you were working. So, yeah, Guardians, Chris Pratt was missing as well, but he's only just finished filming Jurassic World, so I think he was on holiday.
That's just wrapped, isn't it, in London?
Yeah.
Davey Bautista was there.
Yeah.
Representing
Karen
the Guardians. Gillan. Yeah.
Pom Clemente was there as well.
Was she?
Mantis,
okay.
yeah. So it was Zoe and Chris that were missing of the live action.
Yeah.
No Vin Diesel or Bradley Cooper, but then they didn't do any press for Guardians Volume 2 anyway.
They didn't do it for Guardians Volume 1.
Well, Vin did a little bit.
Oh, did he?
Bradley, I don't think gives a hoot. I think he just goes in, makes his money, and he's gone again.
Yeah.
The Avengers, there wasn't anyone other than Chris really that was missing.
Yeah, he was around my house getting pissed, playing on the
drinking cider.
PlayStation. Yeah, we were watching D23 on Lou Mangella's box. I told him he should have gone. Listen.
Oh, and Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was missing as well, but he's filming Ant-Man at the moment, so...
Yes, yeah, they're filming Ant-Man and the Wasp at the moment, aren't they? Yeah.
So it wasn't a surprise that he
Benny
was
wasn't
missing.
there either, was he?
Who? Benedict Cumberbatch? Yeah.
Was he there?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
He was actually keeping Tom Holland in check.
Well, someone has to.
Making any spoilers. And at one stage, there's a great interview where the interviewer asked Tom whether he was going to be an Avenger or not. He started to talk and went, Benedict goes, I can answer that. Tom Holland's a great actor. I love working with him. On to the next question.
I know Mark Ruffalo and Don Cheadle were also doing interviews together, and at one point Mark Ruffalo almost let slip. Well, he kind of did let slip something, but I don't know how seriously to kind of take it. So
he also confirmed that he won't be doing a Hulk solo movie.
No, but I mean, I think anyone really knew that was going to be the case anyway, because it's still tied up with Universal red tape. So, you know, unless that situation's resolved, to be honest, I think they're just being a bit silly, because they've got the license, they're not doing anything with it. If they did a deal like Sony, then
Universal can't do anything with it. They've only got distribution rights.
Yeah, but surely they'd have to come to an agreement with Disney anyway.
Yeah, well, they're not going to make any money from the deal in the situation they're in at the moment. They can't make a film because they don't own those rights. Disney own the rights. Disney could make a film, but it wouldn't be released.
Right. It'd be like Roger Corman and the Fantastic Four then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So those rights are just sitting there gathering dust, basically.
Yeah, crazy.
So, but they showed. I think it must have been a 2 or 3 minute clip from hearing what they described. They described the first meeting of the Guardians with an Avenger.
Yep.
They meet Thor very early on, and from what's being said, Thor Ragnarok will go straight into Infinity War.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's probably very, very close to the end of Thor Ragnarok.
Right. So maybe, I wonder if we'll even see an end credit sting involving the Guardians.
It might well be that we might see the Milano right at the end. So we saw that.
I'm really looking forward to that, considering how much I hated the Dark. Was it Dark World?
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot. So
the cast is fantastic in Ragnarok.
Oh, to me, I love the director. So I don't know if you've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend Hunt for the Wilder People. It's not a superhero film at all.
But,
he's just a very good comedic director. But I imagine that he'd get a great film out of Thor, keeping it humorous but still a Thor film.
Yeah.
I think it'll do good stuff.
Never beat Jeff Goldblum.
Well, yeah, he's there as well, of course.
Yeah. So we also find out that Loki is in Infinity War.
Interesting. Because I know he's obviously going to be in Ragnarok, because I went into my local Toys R Us the other day and they've already got the Thor sets out for the Lego.
Not out until November.
I know, but the Lego sets are out in my local Toys R Us. I think, to be honest, they've released them a little bit early. I don't think they're supposed to have been out yet, but they were there next to the Spider-Man Homecoming sets. So I was like, oh, Loki's in it.
Yeah.
And some other characters, which I won't know.
Winter Soldier's back.
Yep. Oh, yeah, because he was on stage as well. Yep.
Yes. Looks like he's fighting alongside Black Panther for the bulk of it, which is to be expected after the end of the Civil War.
Yep.
We saw the Guardians get taken out by Thanos. Completely destroyed. But we kind of expect that for this first film. We expect him to get taken down only to come back in the second part and destroy Thanos, I would imagine. What else did we say?
I think they should team up the Winter Soldier with Olaf. I'm just thinking as an idea.
Olaf was the original Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I know Spider-Man was seen in the clips as well.
Spider-Man's in it quite a bit, considering he was rumoured to only be a cameo role, wearing the costume from the end of Homecoming.
Really?
Yes. And also showing his spider sense.
Yes, because I didn't notice that, but that was again something else that I noticed on Adam's podcast was the fact that there seems to be a lack of spider sense, which
it was spoken about a week ago by the director, saying we don't know what we're doing with it yet, and quite clearly he knew what they were doing with it.
Yeah,
just couldn't say it.
To be honest, I thought puberty. When I actually thought about it, I was like, well, he's only 15. Maybe he'll grow into.
Weirdly, in the comics, it took a blow to the head to trigger it.
Oh, okay.
So I was wondering whether that blow to the head that he got from Vulture at the end might possibly be the trigger.
Yeah. Or the building falling on him.
Yeah.
All number of things.
So we see that. Just trying to think what else.
I know Scarlet Witch was on stage, so she's obviously in it.
They only showed a slight clip of her Vision. They didn't show Vision, Ant-Man. We got a glimpse of Steve Rogers.
Actually, Ant-Man was in all the clips.
Yeah, we just couldn't see him. He was just that small. Yeah. We get a clip of Steve Rogers, no longer Captain America. After giving up the shield, the rumour is that he will be taking up the mantle of Nomad from the comics. Apparently he has a huge, great big bushy beard.
But who will be Captain America?
Well, no one at the moment. Probably until Steve Rogers dies at the end of the second part.
Spoiler alert.
There's no guarantee that's going to happen, but I think it will.
Yeah.
His contract ends at the end of the second part. So
well, a lot of people's contracts end at the end of the second part. So, that'll be interesting.
I'm in discussions, but I shouldn't really say that, but I'm in discussions for the role. But
yeah, just keep on the down low, Paul, just in case.
Captain Scotland. New character.
Come here, you wee lassie.
You say that, they're talking about bringing Captain Britain into the MCU, so it might be alright.
That's true.
Oh, no.
Was Captain Marvel seen at all?
No, she wasn't.
Okay. Interesting.
She is rumoured to be in it. Whether that's the first part or the second, I'm not sure. But there was some shots of some of the Avengers in space. Spider-Man, Iron Man, all seen off planet. So, and there was also a scene between Doctor Strange and Star-Lord was included in it, of Doctor Strange building like platforms for Star-Lord to jump off of.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's going to be a dance-off.
That might be afterwards. And I think the trailer ends with Thanos trying to squeeze Thor's head.
Yes.
Into a pulp.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a action-packed sequence. They weren't calling it a trailer, so I'm guessing something else. They have said that there is a trailer coming sooner than you think. So with San Diego Comic-Con this coming weekend, don't be surprised if you don't get one.
I think we'll see it Saturday. I think we'll see it Saturday for the public. I think they'll show it at San Diego and then immediately put it online. That would be my inkling.
And that was the movie panel.
And there was also an animation panel, which I think we should go into briefly, because I appreciate this will be quite a long podcast for everyone to listen to in two halves. I think, for me, the most exciting news was probably around...
Olaf.
No. But what I didn't get about that, and no one seems to have explained correctly, is Olaf has this new short, doesn't he, at Christmas?
Yeah.
What's it called? Olaf's what?
Olaf's
Christmas
Holiday Adventure or something.
Oh, yes, it'll have to be called Holiday because we can't call it Christmas. So that's coming out this year. Now, I understood that was going to be like an ABC TV special, like Prep and Landing or the Toy Story 2 that they did, Toy Story Terror and Time Forgot. So it's like a 20-minute like film, but I'm now hearing it's going to be put in front of Coco.
Yep, it's going to be the short in front of Coco.
Yeah, but that's not a short, Paul.
No, it's not.
21 minutes isn't a short.
No, and I'm wondering whether Coco has come up short in running length.
That still doesn't make sense, though. Like, I mean, Frozen Fever that they whacked out in front of Cinderella was about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was plenty. Like, in terms of what a short should be before a film. 20 minutes, I just think it's a bit of a piss take, to be honest.
20 minutes with 4 songs.
To be honest, if I knew that I was going to go and see a film and I'd have to sit for a 20-minute short before the film, it'd probably put me off, if I'm honest. And I like Olaf, but I want to watch that in my own time, not in front of a film.
I suppose it's better than all the ads we get.
Well, no, because you're going to get the ads and all, aren't you?
Yeah.
Unless they're worried about the film, and it's, they're trying to draw in the Frozen audience.
Yeah, that could well be it. I mean, Coco does seem to be a bit of an odd... I mean, I think it looks good, but it is a bit of an odd concept for a cartoon. And we already saw from the Book of Life that came out a couple of years ago that, that thing doesn't seem to set the box office alight. So maybe that's it. Maybe you're both right. Maybe it's a ploy to bring in people fearing that Coco's not going to be a big hit.
So it seemed to go down well during the animation panel. They had a live performance, didn't they, from two of the actors from Benjamin Bratt, in fact. Did a live musical performance.
Oh, what, from Coco?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I know Josh Gad's did a song from the Olaf bit. And I think someone... Was it Kristen Bell made a quip about Olaf's Sauna Adventure or something?
Yeah.
To be in the next one, which might please some people. Funny enough, I actually went to see the Book of Mormon on Saturday as part of my birthday present. And the guy that they had playing the main... Well, I suppose really the main lead. He certainly does more of the singing. Was blatantly being Josh Gad. Because Josh Gad obviously originated that part on Broadway.
Yeah.
Before, that kind of, was his stepping stone. It was, he was doing that musical with the creators that led him to get the part of Olaf, because he obviously, one of the co-writers of the Book of Mormon co-wrote the songs for Frozen, and that's obviously where Josh Gad then became really famous. So I'm not sure if that's what they do with all the productions now, but it was like he was channeling Josh Gad, which was both really good but also a bit strange at the same time.
I actually think Josh Gad doesn't know how to be Josh Gad anymore.
Yes.
I think it's just Olaf now.
Yeah, I think you could be right. But he seems like a really nice guy. I think I've got a lot of time for him, but I know what you mean. Okay, so that was Coco and that. The film that I was more excited about was actually The Incredibles 2, which they showed some art from. They didn't show any clips, did they?
I think they showed some, because they only just started drawing it. I think they showed some of the smallest child.
They can't have just started drawing it. Isn't it out next year?
Well, yeah. Apparently they said they're only just starting production. So whether everything's designed and they've just got to now do the storyline properly, but they showed some basic footage of the smallest child and his superpowers.
Yes.
So Jack.
Yes, because I think the idea is that this film follows on from the end of the first film. And
yeah, so they said it starts more or less straight after the first film.
So they weren't actually aware that Jack had any powers.
Yeah.
Because in the little short they did after Incredibles with Jack, which was based around when he was being babysat, and what happened when they tried to capture him. They obviously they were stuck on the island. They had no idea what was going on, so they've got no idea that he's got his superpowers yet. So, yeah, I mean, I am excited for that. I like The Incredibles a lot, and I think that this will be good, and I think it'll be a good way of Brad Bird doing another decent animated film, because I think Ratatouille is incredibly overrated. Sorry, not just a attraction.
His live action films haven't been great either.
I liked his Mission Impossible. I thought that was pretty good. Tomorrowland was a failed experiment to me.
Yeah, it wasn't what people were expecting, was it?
No, I liked it, but I don't think anyone knew what they wanted it to be. No. And I put a lot of that down to who wrote the film as well, if I'm completely honest. Because Damien Lindelof he's got a bit of a reputation. So there was Incredibles 2. They also talked a little bit about Toy Story 4.
Yeah. And
they announced it's no longer going to be co-directed.
No, John Lasseter has moved on.
Stepped down. Probably too busy. And obviously feels it's in capable hands, so that's good. And I think they showed some concept of some of the new characters that are going to be in Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
We're still, 2 years away from Toy Story 4? Was it 3?
2.
2 years. 2019. Yeah. Okay, cool. So there was a bit of that. But the one that got me most interested was Wreck-It Ralph 2.
I think it's the one that got everybody most interested.
I mean, it sounded phenomenal.
Yeah.
I liked Wreck-It Ralph. And when I went to see it at the cinema, I really, really loved it. And when I've watched it again, while I still think it's good, and there's a lot of good in-jokes in it, especially if you like video games, I don't think I was... I think the first one was definitely the best time I watched it. It's not that it doesn't hold up to repeat viewings. It's still a good film, but I just think the first time I probably wasn't expecting too much from it. And so I really, really enjoyed it. But the idea of this new one sounds brilliant. And again, I wasn't even taken that much by the concept of it, but it sounds like they've taken a little bit of creative influence from the Lego movie.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest way of describing it.
And it's very self-relevant, I think.
Yes, yeah, very meta, as the cool kids would say. So the scene, and they showed the scene as well, didn't they? They didn't just talk about it. But they go to Oh My Disney, because so the whole film is about them going on the internet, finding a way to access the internet and going on to the internet rather than the video games. and I go on a website called Oh My Disney, which is a real site, I believe.
Yeah.
I just never used it. I didn't know. And Vanellope meets some of the Disney princesses, and they're all voiced by their original voices. So Jodie Benson was back for Ariel, and
H. O'Hara as
for Belle, and Mandy Moore for Rapunzel.
Kristen Bell as Anna.
Now, did they say that they brought back the original voice of Snow White?
I would imagine it's not the original.
Yeah, I think she
I would
might be
imagine
dead by
it's
now.
the current one.
Yeah.
Because they have someone on the books that covers.
Oh, of
the
course,
voice.
because of things like Sophia the First, won't they?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it seemed quite self-referential. My favourite part of proceedings, because obviously they were quite offended at Vanellope calling herself a princess, is apparently Cinderella breaks her glass slipper and threatens her with this broken glass slipper, as if it's a broken glass.
Like, my favourite bit is the bit where they tell Merida they can't understand her.
Oh, really?
And that she's from the other company.
Mr. D, what are you going to say about that?
I think that's racist. That's what I've got to say about that.
But it sounded like they've really thought hard about how to take that idea and run with it. I think that was one of the strongest points of Wreck-It Ralph, is that because they wanted it to be based in a video game world rather than create all of these fake video games. Obviously the three main video games you see in that film are created for the film, but you see all of these characters from all these other really famous video games, or they have little bit parts or whatever, and it's little touches like that give it that sense of realism. So I think they've taken that idea and ran with it. And it'd be interesting to see, because obviously, quite famously, the only big video game stars that you didn't see in Wreck-It Ralph were the Mario Brothers. Yep. Where Nintendo kind of put a veto on it for whatever reason. I think they probably kicked themselves a little bit afterwards, after it had done so well. So it'd be interesting to see if that's rectified in this new one. See if people are more willing to have their characters featured now because of it. But I think that looks really, really good. Or sounds really, really good anyway. No footage of that has emerged as yet either. And that comes out next November, doesn't it? November 2018. So I'm hoping that we get it at a similar kind of time, and they're not going to try and delay it for the half-term holidays in February, because that's what they did with the first Wreck-It Ralph. I think, if I remember rightly, I watched Wreck-It Ralph at the cinema the week it came out, and then 2 weeks later had a 3D Blu-ray of it from America.
Yeah, I had a friend that was in America and bought it literally the week after we'd seen it.
Yeah. I know I got it sent over to me quite quickly, because I've got a friend out there who picked it up. But, so hopefully that's not the same case this time. Was there anything else mentioned on the animation panel that's probably...
I don't think so. There was mention of a new Pixar film, I believe. No title. There was a modern suburban city. But that was more or less all they gave away.
I know there was one about some elves...
Yeah,
that were looking for their father, which was based on the director's own childhood. Not in him being an elf, but about the situation with the father not being around anymore, or having died. So I know that's something that's on the books as well. And I think there was they were talking about a short film that they were working on with some new technology that was about planes.
Yeah.
Which doesn't look like it's got anything to do with the Planes franchise.
No, there was talk that there was going to be another sequel.
Oh, really?
To Planes, yeah. There was, when they released the list of films before the live action, They had all the films live action and animated together, and there was a Disney Toons unnamed film on that list, which
Disney
is believed
Toons,
to be the Third Planes. Yeah,
Disney Toons are the studio that does that.
Yeah,
those films, isn't it? It's like the direct-to-DVD.
Yeah, there was rumours it was going to be about going into space, so it'd be about rockets rather than planes.
Right. Yeah, because I know there was supposed to be some more Tinkerbell films.
Yeah,
but they cut that series short. The last few didn't perform so well, so that's interesting. And I did notice as well, there are a few slots available in that live action slate that they've got for Disney films of untitled projects. So we haven't had an announcement, but Tron 3, there's room for you. Jared Leto lets you do it and stuff. Other things fall into place. Who knows? We could see another Tron. Cool. I think that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that covers everything with D23. Unless, Mr. D, was there anything that we failed to mention?
No, I think that was. I think we covered a lot there.
Yeah, I think we
certainly all the big stuff.
Yeah, I think we covered a bloody lot. So I think you should. I hope you really enjoy these podcasts. We've talked an awful lot.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to my favourite moment of the whole weekend. For anybody that watches the Dis, they were doing live shows every morning and every evening. On one stage, they were doing their live show, and a couple of people walked in behind them. Mr. Wu and Mr. Scard decided to photobomb while they were recording and were posing for photos and stuff behind them. Problem was, Craig actually realised what they were doing and knew who they were and just absolutely lost it and was just trying so badly not to laugh because he knew exactly, he could see them. They were behind him and he'd got the screen in front of him and he could see them behind him.
Right. And
they're posing for photos and swapping hats and all sorts of things, and Craig just absolutely lost it. And it was just brilliant, completely spur of the moment thing. And Craig quite clearly knew who it was as well. And the other two didn't know. And Craig's just sitting there laughing while they're doing all sorts of things behind him. It was just great, a completely live moment as well. So go and check that out. I think it was on their, might have been on their day 2 wrap up show. Adam actually inserted it into his video, and had actually put the camera out. They put it opposite the stand and left their camera out, so they filmed it from a distance as well.
Right, okay.
And you can spot Craig when he realises who it is, and he's just like, "Oh God, here we go." So
not our Craig.
Go and check that. Not our Craig.
No. It'll probably
this is Craig.
Yeah.
The
only thing I thought we should mention just before we go, just because I thought it was quite big news, is not announced at D23 for obvious reasons, is that Steve Whitmire has been sacked as the voice of Kermit the Frog after 27 years. Now, what was quite interesting about this is that he was handpicked by Jim Henson to take over the role. So he's been voicing Kermit for 27 years. Now, at first it looked like it was, when the news broke, it looked like it was possibly amicable. There didn't seem to be a reason why. Then that was laser changed after he went public and said, I was sacked. And he didn't know why. Didn't think he'd done anything wrong. And Disney have come back out now and said that he was fired for unacceptable business conduct.
Oh dear.
Whatever that means. So, yeah.
Don't want to know what he's been doing with that puppet.
Well, it says, Kermit Puppet says he was fired for giving unwanted notes. So it'd be, there's always obviously two sides to every story, but yeah, it looks like he was trying to control what other people. Reading between lines, it looks like he was suggesting what other people should be doing with some of the other characters, and it didn't go down particularly well. And the guy
he's caught feeding Miss Piggy a pork sausage.
Yeah, that worse cannibalism, so no wonder.
Yeah.
But so he's gone, and the guy who played, and I can't remember his name, and I can't bother to look it up. But the guy who played Constantine, the evil Kermit the Frog in The Muppets Most Wanted, is going to be taking over the role as of now. They do a Muppets address every week on one of the Disney websites. So starting this week, he will be taking over the role of Kermit the Frog.
Ooh.
So there you go. So a lot of people didn't like the new Kermit the Frog because he didn't sound enough like Jim Henson. So it'll be interesting to see what this new Kermit the Frog will sound like and to see how people react to it. But when someone's been doing that voice for 27 years, it's quite a big change.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of my... you know, I didn't grow up with the Muppet Show, so I saw bits and pieces. But to me, Kermit's The Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, and you know the films afterwards, and even like TV series like Muppets Tonight. So to me, you know, whilst most people associate Jim Henson, I actually probably associate Steve Whitmire more as being Kermit the Frog, if I'm honest. So it'll be probably weirder for me than most people. So it'll be interesting when anyone takes over an iconic role like that. It'll be slightly different. So it'll be interesting to see how different it is. But just thought I'd mention that. So
yeah.
But sorry to leave it on a downer, but I think that's it. I think we've talked long enough.
Yeah.
Everyone's bored of us now over 2 podcasts. So
I think we're bored of ourselves as well.
I'm constantly bored with myself, which is ironic considering that Craig says I'll never shut up. He doesn't know the struggle I go through. But thank you for listening to these 2 podcasts. I hope it's been a good look back at D23. We are hoping that one of us will be at the next D23. So we can have an actual ear on the ground, interrupting the Dis and hanging about with Adam the Woo.
I will certainly be interrupting the Dis.
Well, yeah, it's a given. Wearing Dis After Dark t-shirts. I'll
go and put a pin badge on the table in front of them.
Just hold him above his head like Mickey is. That's the spirit.
Oh, poor Pete.
He loves it. He was on an early show.
We need to get him back on.
Yeah. Been a very long time. But, thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed our D23 catch-up. And we'll see you on another Dis After Dark soon.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to this show. If you would like to support us and the other After Dark Podcast Network shows, please visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/DisAfterDark. That's patreon.com/DisAfterDark. As well as supporting the show, there are other goodies available, including badges and soon t-shirts available as a thank you for your support.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.